If you've ever heard me talk about movies for like 10 seconds, you probably know that I love Hong Kong cinema. Action films, science fiction films, all manners of films. Because Hong Kong cinema has an energy and just a style that nowhere else in the world has, unless they're ripping off Hong Kong movies. And I can trace my love to just discovering a whole country's output with a screening of The Musketeer. I believe I went to see this Peter Hyams film for my birthday, the one that stars an underwear model, and after it ended, my friend who had been at the screening was like, yeah, that climax with the ladders. It reminded me of a film I had seen before called Once Upon a Time in China. And I was like, whoa, I love that climax in The Musketeer. No, the movie is not very good, but it had Hong Kong style action. And my friend said, okay, but let me bring you to the pure version of it. And we rented Once Upon a Time in China. My mind was blown. I had never seen anything like it. The wire work, just the density of it, the imagination. I would later learn that The Musketeer was choreographed by one of the cast members of Once Upon a Time in China. And it was a movie that from there on out, I loved. Once Upon a Time in China, not The Musketeer. Saw the second one, loved it as well. So I was super excited when a box set of Once Upon a Time in China was announced from Eureka in the UK, and I bought that box set, and it looked great. Had commentaries, had all the featurettes that had previously appeared in the Hong Kong Legends disc, and then the Criterion collection announced they were also doing a box set. Okay, I said, especially when I learned that the fourth and fifth ones were going to be remastered for the first time and included on this set. Once Upon a Time in China from the Criterion collection. Now, this is a gorgeous looking set. I don't think the films have ever looked as good as they do on this set. You know, Hong Kong transfers, when it comes to like high definitions or even DVDs, oftentimes they look a little too plasticky. Like the automatic process that they put them through makes them look almost too modern. And that is not the case with the transfers of these films. There's like an organic texture to them that I really appreciate. And while they don't include any English dubs, they did go back and remaster the Cantonese soundtracks on the first 5 films, and they included the Mandarin soundtrack on Once Upon a Time in China and America, which is the 6th film, because the Mandarin soundtrack actually includes Jet Li's real voice. For people that may not know, even like the main Cantonese tracks of a lot of Hong Kong films doesn't feature the big megastars like Jackie Chan or even Jet Li doing their voice. It just features an actor who became the Jet Li or Jackie Chan voice guy, or even Andy Lau. I don't even think he dubbed all of his films either. I looked at the booklet at the back. They even found some prints of like the third one that a collector had, and they scanned that to get the original audio, because a lot of Hong Kong films, not only speaking of the plastic quality of the transfers, they would oftentimes go back when releasing remastered versions on DVD and add new sound effects. Oh boy, and those sound effects, they were loud, they were completely out of place, they took you right out of the movie. None of those versions exist on this Blu-ray set. Thank you so much! Finally, you can watch the movies as good as they're probably ever going to sound, and you get really good picture quality. I know a lot of people out there are like, oh, I want the 4K. Listen, you got your 1080p, you got your Blu-rays, looks great. So if you want the whole Once Upon a Time in China collection, you better pick up this Blu-ray set up. On the special feature front, oh boy, I know you can't see it, there are a lot of special features, but sometimes it's that tricky Criterion way that they list everything in a block, which I think I first saw Arrow started doing, which oftentimes makes it look like, oh my god, there's so much stuff. And there's a lot of stuff. There's no commentary tracks, which is a real bummer, because I love commentary track, especially with films that have been discussed ad nauseum. Oh yeah, Citizen Kane has a new commentary track on their new Blu-ray. That's awesome. I love Jonathan Rosenbaum. But like something that Once Upon a Time in China, I want that context, especially if it's someone who has information that English-speaking audiences maybe wouldn't be privy to. No commentaries, even though that I know that Mike Leader did one on the Eureka disc, and Rick Myers did one on the original Warner Brothers DVDs, I believe, that looked awful. So would not recommend that release. You do get a new interview with Choi Hark, and I like hearing Choi Hark talk, even though that I wish sometimes it would go more in depth and like more into his process. Sometimes I feel like his interviews are very surface level, mostly because, you know, he's talking about generalities or maybe movies that came out a long time ago. But I've heard Choi Hark do commentary tracks on some Hong Kong releases, and they are amazing. You can find them, the Seven Swords Blu-ray and the Dragon Gate 3D movie. I can never get the title right. It's like, not New Dragon Inn, that's another True Hawk production. It's like Flying Swords of Dragon Gate, that also has a commentary on it, depending on which version you get, that's subtitled. And it gives like a real look into the process of making the movies that you don't usually get with Hong Kong films, and I don't usually get in Troy Hart commentary tracks, especially when he does them in English, which feels like a language he's not completely comfortable in, but the fact that he always does his interviews in English, maybe from the fact that that's his preference. That's what he would rather do, knowing that it was going to be a release for English language markets. What really interested me, and I was pleasantly surprised were very enjoyable, were interviews with Marco Mack, who is an editor, a very famous editor in Hong Kong. It pretty much goes like, to my knowledge, David Wu, who did all of John Woo's films, and Marco Mack, who was like Troy Hark's guy and became a director himself. And he has like a gigantic filmography of really interesting classics and full-on trash. But his interview is really interesting because he actually talks about the process, how much film that he had, and how he went about it. There's even some stuff I'd never actually heard before, which makes me hope that there'll be even more interviews with kind of technical crew if they do more Hong Kong films, because you get information that you wouldn't get anywhere else. There's also a interview with Manson Shi, who was a longtime partner of Troy Hark and produced all of his major films, and she gives kind of like a career perspective. It's 15 minutes long. I wish it was 40 minutes long because she is a great talker, has a lot of great information, and if she could have gone like movie by movie, oh boy, that would have been a delight, but I'm still happy with what we got here. And you get a bunch of stuff that's appeared on other discs, like some behind the scenes footage from Once Upon a Time in China. You get a behind the scenes doc that was from Once Upon a Time in China, America. It also looks like there may be some raw footage, or I don't know if it's just the same thing presented in two different ways. You get some archival interviews with English actor John Wakefield, Donnie Yen, Troy Hark. You also get a video essay with Tony Raines, who is like the king now. He's on all of these releases. Tony Raines has been around forever talking about Asian cinema, but seemingly only recently I've noticed that he, popped up on the Criterion release of Parasite, doing commentary with Bong Joon-ho. And, of course, it features Once Upon a Time in China and America, an underrated film directed by Sammo Hung. Seemingly, he ripped off Jackie Chan's Shanghai Noon before it came out, where Wong Fei-hung gets hit in the head when he visits America, teams up with a bunch of cowboys. It was always devalued as a Once Upon a Time in China film, but I think it's great. Sammo Hung, I think it's his last major theatrical feature film work before he made My Beloved Bodyguard just a few years ago, and he's at his full power. You also have Once Upon a Time in China 5, which should not be discounted. I always find it like brushed off. No, it does not star Jet Li, but it does star Vincent Zhao, who is great, played Wong Fei-hung in a Troy Hark produced TV series. And what's really fun about Once Upon a Time in China 5 is that it's directed by Troy Hark, and he approached it wanting to make like a gunplay film, and so it's all acrobatic gunplay. Of course you get martial arts as well, but you can definitely tell that he didn't just want to make another go at the franchise and want to do something really different that I really appreciate, and I'm really excited to watch it in high definition because it's only ever been available as a DVD release. So of course, this is a movie, if you have any interest in this or you like these movies, you have to pick up. And with that out of the way, I do have a few nitpicks. The fact that the last few Criterion box sets I've gotten have been completely impractical. The Godzilla set, too big. Now the glue is coming apart and the discs are falling out if you have it sitting up, which is the way that you would assume you would want to put the disc out. And this Once Upon a Time in China set, it is, a fold-out Blu-ray, which I feel like they kind of stopped doing a long time ago. Don't they do mostly sleeves now, which is much more practical? And it's also the plasticky little things that hold the disc in place, which always break! They always break! And every time that I have to pop these discs out, and it's annoyingly the ones that are stacked on top of each other, so you have to take out the first disc if you want to get to the second one, I feel like it's gonna break. It's gonna break! It always breaks. Big, thick booklet, even though that I'm not a big fan of, like, half of it is just credits of the movie and images. Why? Just make it all an essay. Like, it's nice to have the credits on here, but IMDb exists now, and you can check out the credits there if you wanted to. And also, all those special features I mentioned, it doesn't say anywhere which discs they're located on. They're all over the place. There's no disc just dedicated to special features. Like, the interviews are all broken up. I have to put each disc into my player to find out where the interview that I wanted to listen to was. Very aggravating. Why wouldn't they include it in the booklet? I can understand maybe not including it on the back, but, like, dedicating a page to the booklet and letting you know where all the special features are, that would be very much appreciated. So, content, excellent. Looks great. Just the physical packaging of it, I feel, could be a little bit more user-friendly. But, you know what, Criterion's been doing this a long time. Maybe there's a reason it's the way that it is. And this, like, plastic thing, the glue is going to come undone. It always does, and then this plastic case completely falls out. And the booklet, the fact that it has to stay, like, in the middle, it is so annoying! But, listen, this is me nitpicking, because I'm so happy that this set is out, and more people will probably watch it and appreciate the sheer majesty and masterpiece that are, you know, the first two Once Upon a Time in China films, and the fun that most of the ones afterwards are as well. So, if you enjoyed this review, please check out the Bay Street Video Podcast, where me and Mark Hansen go through all the notable Blu-rays and DVDs every week. You can check it in the link below, and I would very much appreciate it if you follow this channel. You'll see way more Blu-ray, DVDs, movie reviews. I'm thinking of also starting and doing, like, how-to videos when it comes to short films. So if you'd like to see all that stuff, subscribe! And thank you very much for watching.